Good afternoon. For the record, today is August 5th, 2020. The time is 2:14 p.m. This is a meeting of the Public Service Commission of the District of Columbia being held via WebEx. I'm Willie L. Phillips, Chairman of the Public Service Commission. Also participating via WebEx is Commissioner Richard Beverly. Pursuant to the Open Meeting Act of 2010, the Commission scheduled this meeting to consider formal case matters that require Commission action. The proposed agenda for this meeting was posted on Monday, August 3rd, 2020, and amended today, removing item number 2 regarding formal case number 1130. A recording of today's open meeting will be available on the Commission's website after the meeting concludes. Commissioner Beverly, are you prepared to vote and adopt the amended agenda?
Yes.
All in favor of adopting the amended agenda, please indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes. The agenda is adopted. Today, there are 3 action items before the Commission. The matters are: number 1, formal case number 1130, in the matter of the investigation into modernizing energy delivery system for increased sustainability. I can never. Exclusively for all governance board matters. Number 2, formal case number 1156, in the matter of the application of Potomac Electric Power Company for authority to implement a multi-year rate plan for electric distribution service in the District of Columbia. This order denies BWLDC's motion to compel, grants PEPCO's motion to file untimely response to the motion to compel, and grants BWLDC's opposition to PEPCO's motion. Number 3, in docket RM 9-2020-03, in the matter of 15 DCMR Chapter 9, Net Energy Metering. This order adopts amendments to Chapter 9, Net Energy Metering, which shall become effective upon publication of a notice of final rulemaking in the DC Register. All in favor of approving the recommended orders, please indicate by stating yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes. The orders are approved. The next item of business, we have some special guests for our open meeting today, and now we will hear from Washington Gas on their state of the company. I will turn it over to representatives for Washington Gas.
Chairman Phillips, thank you. You know, I had to smile for what it's worth. I was happy to see it's not just my meetings that sometimes struggle with technology. So we appreciate that. If that was done nothing more than to give us, to make us feel better, we thank you for that. Speaking of technology, so I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to try to share a slide deck. So let me see if I can get this up. All right, and then I need to go here. All right, so Mr. Chairman, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Very good. Well, again, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Beverly, and staff. We appreciate you giving us an opportunity and a few minutes to update you on what's happening at Washington Gas. So we are going to proceed as if our technology functions appropriately. I wanted to introduce the leadership team at Washington Gas. You can see their photos here on the screen. They are all on the phone, and so I appreciate having them here with me. I suspect you have met all of them at one point or another over the past couple of years. With that said, I'd like to introduce 2 of our newest team members. There on the bottom of the screen in the photo, you can see Andrea Coughlin-Rowley. So Andrea joined us as our Chief Human Resources Officer, most recently from Entergy, and before that across various disciplines. She's got a deep, or various entities, she's got a deep background in human capital, and we're thrilled to have her. Next to her on the photo is Malik Angulakudati, who joins us as our SVP of Strategy and Innovation. Malik has a deep history in the energy space and spending time with both National Grid and PG&E, and most recently is a very senior member of PwC's U.S. utilities practice. So we are thrilled to have both Andrea and Malik join us. We're absolutely, I don't know what the right term is, ecstatic to have their capabilities on board. What you should expect from us, Mr. Chairman, is a more collaborative approach. What you are seeing here is an intent to build upon the many, many things that Washington Gas does well as to bring in a diversity of experiences and thought to allow us to bring in best practices and other experiences from across the industry. So that's what we hope you will see from us as we move forward. All right, so here I want to spend just a couple minutes and talk about our strategy here at Washington Gas is centered around operational excellence in all aspects of our business. We're focused on improving our efficiency and our effectiveness and driving an improved customer experience. As an essential business and a key member of the DC community, Washington Gas provides a safe, reliable system through targeted investments to continually improve both safety and reliability of our service offerings. Our mainline replacement priorities are targeted and used as a means to enhance our system and make our system more smart, if you will, in the use of materials, technology, and longevity. And through our focus on corporate social responsibility, we're investing in our community by hiring locally, providing training opportunities, and making a positive impact in our communities. You're going to see some more examples of that as we go through the slide deck today. So let's talk a little bit about, we live here, we work here, this is our home, we care about the city and the environment and the longevity of all of our collective homes. So let me provide a couple of examples of our efforts and progress around sustainability and stewardship. We've been focused, oops, I went too far. Let me see here, there we go. Got to be very sensitive on the key, oh, it keeps going, it doesn't want to stay here. We'll see if this works. No, well, I'm going to talk to this slide that only shows up briefly, and for some reason it doesn't want to stay. But as we talk about emissions and sustainability and progress there, over the last decade, we've been focused on reducing emissions in our fleet and facilities. And in fact, since 2008, have reduced those emissions in those two respective areas by 78%. We are targeted on having a carbon neutral footprint in both fleet and facilities by 2025. This year, we also earned our second Energy Star Award for Excellence and our third consecutive Environmental Champion Award based on a new 2020 Cogent syndicated national survey, say that quickly, of utility customers released by Escalent, who is a leading human behavior and analytics group. And as you're well aware, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioner Beverly, we have published our climate business plan. We held our first semi-annual meeting. You know, we will get better at that. This COVID environment, utilizing technology, is a challenge to all of us at different times. We were excited about the participation. I think we had about 200 participants dial into that meeting. I think we will get better and more efficient at utilizing technology to increase the communication and flow of that meeting. I won't spend a lot of time today highlighting the items in that plan, but would just remind you that we are very focused on helping the district meet its climate objectives moving forward. So now we go to this slide, which will stay up on the screen as opposed to the previous one. Here's a snapshot of a 2019 business overview. And of course, we're growing today. Our system is vast, and that means that small changes across it have significant ripple effects. For example, if we make a change that lowers emissions by 1% across our entire system, that single change is responsible for preventing thousands of pounds of carbon emissions a year. So we're looking for ways to improve our system, both as a whole and piecemeal. I'm cautiously optimistic it will stay on the slides we want as we go here. So as we look at a few district-specific trends, you can see the significant positive impact we have in our community. We've been in DC for 172 years, which happens to be the same year we laid the cornerstone for the Washington Monument. When we talk about paying our dues, we highlight the more than $42.5 million of taxes paid in the district. Our focus has been hiring and training locally to provide solid, well-paying jobs for residents of our communities. And our corporate headquarters has always been in DC, and we'll strive to maintain that. In fact, as you know, we were one of the first tenants of the recently developed Southwest Waterfront. So we're proud of our history here. So as we talk about system reliability, and efficiency. We'd highlight the following items. From 2018 to present, our emergency response performance has improved from 98% or from 95% to 98% related to priority 1 orders, and from 81% to 89% related to combined priority 2 and 3 orders in DC. So we're very pleased with the progress we're making along those lines. We've also increased our operational workforce by 12%, and we highlight that because we think it's significant in these challenging times that we're facing with COVID. We've also had a significant increase in our crew productivity due to additional training measures, tools, metrics, dashboards, and vehicle deployment and technology processes, so we're very pleased with that. We've always had a history of a focus on safety. We've implemented a new safety program called Safe Start that we've implemented across all of the AltaGas businesses that allows for renewed employee engagement and a focus on continuous improvement, and defined leading indicators that help us communicate across the company. So we believe this is an increased or an enhanced process to build on the history we already have in place. When we talk about systems and technology and innovation, we'd highlight that we have implemented a mobile leak survey process, which allows us to be more efficient and utilize more technology as we go. We're also implementing RP 1173 based on the pipeline safety management system to promote a safety culture and continuous improvement. Now, as an example of an impact in the community, let's talk about safety awareness. August happens to be Damage Prevention Month, and we just launched our Washington Gas Damage Prevention Facebook page. Significant efforts focused on the Call Before You Dig program, both in English and Spanish, to increase accessibility across our communities. And we're seeing some positive improvement in WGL's 811 efforts. When we look at damages per 1,000 tickets, we've seen an increase in that ratio from 1.63 in 2019 to 1.40 in 2020, even as we've seen a 16% increase in tickets. So we're very encouraged at the positive impact we're seeing across the community from those efforts. All right. So as we talk about, Washington Gas founded in the District of Columbia, we consider this our home. We hope you feel and see our what I will phrase as our home value commitment and how it's displayed in our many initiatives and partnerships through the city. Throughout the DC area, there are many families who at times have to choose between food and other essentials and heat in the winter or access to cooking fuel in the summer. It's why we created the Washington Area Fuel Fund Program, or WAF for short. In 1983, Washington Gas and the Salvation Army created the Washington Area Fuel Fund to help neighbors in need with their heating bills each winter. Since 1983, WAF has distributed nearly $29 million to over 300,000 homes in our community. On average, WAF helps between 7,000 and 8,000 families annually in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. So Washington Gas handles the administrative fundraising and promotion of that program, and the Salvation Army disperses the funds through its 12 local offices. So we're very proud of that relationship and the positive impact it has in our community. Now, when we continue the theme of our impact in the communities doesn't just include dollars. In fact, in 2019, nearly 700 Washington Gas employees dedicated more than 16,000 community service hours and completed 46 volunteer projects. Some of those projects, and I'll talk about a couple of them, include Day of Weatherization, Junior Achievement, Special Olympics DC, DC Kitchen, and the YMCA Thingamajig STEM Focus program. So on Day of Weatherization, for 7 years, Washington Gas has worked with communities in the region in its Day of Weatherization program to increase energy efficiency and decrease heating expenses in advance of the winter season. So each year, hundreds of our company volunteers provide weatherization services such as caulking, faucet aerators, weather stripping, and more. To date, the program has allowed us to weatherize nearly 800 homes throughout the service territory, with about 43% of those homes being in the district. In Junior Achievement, we've been a partner there for a long, long time. Our volunteers participate annually in the JA in a Day and the Bowl-a-thon. In the most powerful city in the world, Junior Achievement of Greater Washington has been transforming lives for half a century through its innovative hands-on approach to financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship in its K through 12 program. So we're really proud of our relationship there. Special Olympics DC, I'm biased here because I have a young man in my home who is part of this program, part of Special Olympics. WGL volunteers have supported Special Olympics DC Winter and Summer Games for over a decade, and we're very, very happy with that relationship. Of course, in Central Kitchen for 10 years, we've helped prepare meals on the evening shift. In fact, sometimes we've been creative and come up with our own signature dishes. So I've never tried that dish, so I can't tell you about the quality of it, but we're very happy with our volunteer and the relationship there. So I'm incredibly proud of our employees, and not only their financial contributions, but their time, if you will, their time and talents to making a difference in the communities in which we operate. So very, very pleased with them. Now, we talk about trying to make a difference in the communities in which we operate as we think about ways to help drive the economy in our area and help build sustainable business opportunities for the long term. We're very focused on those suppliers who help enable us to provide the life-sustaining business service that we offer. We believe we can help many smaller businesses and thereby many families by focusing on diversifying our supplier base. In the DC metro area in 2019, we spent more than $129 million through this diverse supplier network. We also increased our reach through the number of suppliers in 2019 over 2018 by nearly 50%. As you're aware, we have a Strive for 35 program where we focus increased spend with certified diverse suppliers. We're focused on enhancing our tier 2 reach through our prime supplier relationships and identifying new vendors to include in our portfolio. As you're aware, we're an active participant in the Public Safety Commission's Supplier Diversity Working Group Council, say that very quickly as well. And we're looking forward to strengthening the engagement with other industry groups and diverse suppliers across our district. So a quick comment on a couple of our merger commitments. We're pleased with the impact we've been able to have in the local community across these commitments. So a couple of them I'll just touch on briefly. In merger commitment number 3, energy efficiency and conservation programs for affordable multifamily housing. The company has pledged $4.2 million for energy efficiency and energy conservation initiatives with a primary focus on assisting low and limited income residents who are living in affordable multifamily units. The company, working through its vendor VEIC to date, has selected 27 projects to fund through this commitment. Merger commitment number 8, workforce development initiatives and STEM education. The company pledged $6 million over a 2-year period after the merger closed to fund workforce development initiatives in the District of Columbia. Washington Gas provided $2 million to the DC Treasurer to assist the District of Columbia residents to promote safer and healthier communities across the district and specific programming for returning citizens and formerly justice-involved juveniles. The $2 million investment allowed Cure the Streets pilot program to move forward through at least Q4 of 2020. Further, the company provided $4 million to facilitate workforce programming and training on behalf of DOES to serve programs such as the District of Columbia Infrastructure Academy. Now, one thing I would highlight there, the inaugural DC infrastructure class graduates at the end of this summer, at the end of summer of 2020. Currently, 3 members of that cohort class have secured interviews with Washington Gas for future employment opportunities. So we're very pleased with the impact we've been able to have there. Now, just a couple of more things. Unfortunately, no conversation as of late would be complete without a discussion of COVID-19. With the impact of COVID-19 creating more demand for relief and assistance to our customers, Washington Gas took several steps to provide support, such as suspending disconnects and waiving late fees on customer bills until we could get past this crisis. We also opted to increase our promotion of the various ways customers can apply to receive assistance in paying their bills. These programs include the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, and the Washington Area Fuel Fund, or WAF, which we discussed previously. With the passing of the CARE Act in May of 2020, Washington Gas launched its LIHEAP visibility campaign to create awareness and educate customers of the additional funds available through the program, as well as how to apply for that energy payment assistance. We took to Facebook Live in a partnership with El Tiempo Latino to reach our Spanish-speaking customers. As part of that relationship with El Tiempo, we also sent out an email blast to their email subscribers on May 21st, discussing what Washington Gas is doing for customers during this COVID-2019 pandemic. Banner ads were also placed on our website, as well as the Informers and El Tiempo's Latino website, directing interested parties to the page where they could gather more information. Now, the Washington Gas website was updated mid-May with new content to reflect the latest energy assistance programs and the COVID-19 updates. Links for energy assistance can also be found in the e-services page when customers log in to their portal account. So while our main focus has been on our customers, we also sought to assuage our employees' concerns regarding maintaining their jobs. We've been able to maintain very high levels of employment through redeploying those individuals whose roles have been impacted by this COVID pandemic. And so we're very happy with our ability to keep our folks gainfully employed and utilize their skills elsewhere in the business. Now, the last thing I would highlight today, Mr. Chairman, is while our walk-in offices remain closed to the public for the safety of employees and our community, we remain focused on supporting our community and our customers. Beginning in August, so this month now, representatives that were previously employed in our walk-in offices will begin making proactive calls to customers who will be impacted by the restart of collection activities in the future. Part of this proactive outreach program is part of our WG Cares initiative. The goal is to bring awareness and potentially match customers with available assistance, specifically by advising customers of energy assistance programs that are available, setting up customers with a 12-month deferred payment program, advising customers of safe, fee-free, contactless payment options. And we'll also reach out via email and an outbound dialing campaign with messages with similar options to help our customers impacted by this pandemic. In conclusion, it would be unfair for me not to recognize our crews who are out working every day in the field to keep our system safe and our reliability moving forward. I'm incredibly grateful for their efforts. I'm grateful for all of the employee workforce here at Washington Gas and their dedicated and focused efforts during these challenging times. It really is an incredible workforce. It's got a very positive impact in our community, and I'm very proud to be associated with men and women of this caliber. So with that, I would tell you that's all we have prepared formally. We do thank you for the opportunity to spend some time today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins, for the company update. At this time, we'll have questions and comments from the commissioners. I'll open the floor now for Commissioner Beverly, if you're still on the line, and if you have any comments or questions for the company.
I'm still hanging in, and I do have a question. With regard to the number of people that need assistance because of the COVID epidemic, do you see the numbers of people as a trend going up, down, or remaining steady? And if so, what's the impact of that on the company?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So Colleen Starring is on the phone. I'm going to let Colleen answer that because I do know the answer, but I think it's a good opportunity for Colleen to get a little bit of FaceTime here. So Colleen, are you available?
I am. Good afternoon, Chairman Phillips and Commissioner Beverly. I fondly recall our time together, 2 years ago during the hearings, and I had the opportunity to be before you and testify. As far as your question on, yes, March and April, the numbers in terms of arrearages, our 30, 60, 90 days arrears, looked fairly steady. Beginning toward the end of April, May, continuing through June and into July, we saw some pretty, I don't want to say dramatic increases, but noticeable increases in those accounts. The team here has been very, very focused on isolating those accounts. So we're looking at customers that I would say are newly struggling to pay their bills as it relates to COVID and being out of work. And the WG Cares campaign that Mr. Jenkins talked about is one way that we're trying to connect those customers as early as we can before it gets to that point of, so to speak, no return, and follow up with LIHEAP dollars or any funding that's available, put them on very generous payment plans, anything we can do to help. The good news is, as we looked at those numbers toward the end of July and now into August, they seem to have stabilized. So we look at that as a positive trend. And we have the data available, we have the customer segmented, and so we're doing those ongoing reach outs, I would say, but it seems to have leveled off. So that's the good news story in all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And the effect on the company.
Pardon me?
Are you able to handle? Let me phrase it another way. I assume that this can't go on indefinitely without some kind of negative effect, and I'm concerned about impacts on the company and what the commission can do to help the company weather this storm.
Lou, do you want me to take that, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We have a couple of comments there, I'm sure. So go ahead, though.
So the company overall is handling the storm, weathering the storm very, very well. As Blue said, we're incredibly proud of our workforce, both our office workers and our field workers. And we've worked through a number of challenges, and they've continued to provide service every day. Specifically for arrears, we appreciate the ability to capture the costs and set up these regulatory asset accounts, and we clearly can identify what costs or what impacts the company's experienced. And I would venture to say at some later date, through a proceeding, a hearing, or a rate case, working with our fellow utilities in the area, we'll figure out how we resolve those issues or recover from those issues going forward. So we have worked closely with the other utilities to try to stay in lockstep and make sure that if one is doing something, we're all doing the same things.
Now, are the number of people who need assistance in the district, is the percentage out of kilter or consistent with what's happening in our neighboring jurisdictions?
It was a little fuzzy, the question. Got a little bit of static.
No, I was just trying to get where the district stands in terms of people needing assistance relative to other customers in other jurisdictions in your footprint.
Yes, and in fact, I mean, as you know, we have a utility in Alaska. Alaska has been significantly impacted, their economy, due to the prices of oil, coupled with COVID. COVID did not impact that region of our country as dramatically, but we have seen the same types of increase, both in your 30, 60, 90-day arrears. So I'll say more recent customers unable to pay as it relates to COVID. And as you know, our Michigan utility, very close proximity to the Detroit area, which was one of the earliest areas that experienced some significant COVID outbreaks, and the same type of experience with those SEMCO customers. And in both areas, as well as the District, Virginia, and Maryland, we're working closely with the regulators and have provided the information, and we're categorizing, so to speak, the costs. But it looked across the board, yes, that's what we've seen. And in talking to fellow utilities who are members of AGA companies, we've seen the same thing. There's not one isolated instance. We're all pretty much in the same boat in terms of customers' ability to pay during these tough times.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, both Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Beverly, I would say we do appreciate the commission establishing the process to allow us to establish that regulatory asset. So we have the ability to track and come back at a later date and have that conversation. To your questions, we think it is helpful in the near term for the consumers to have some flexibility there and to be able to balance some of that. It's really a timing of when do we address that and how long do we carry it on the balance sheet and those type of things. But we want to make sure we express our appreciation for that process so that we can come back and have a more informed conversation later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Beverly. And thank you for addressing the issues regarding COVID-19, which has impacted everyone. And so we're laser focused on that issue. I thank the company for their leadership and stepping out even ahead of the council and the mayor in addressing disconnections and late fees right when the pandemic hit. A follow-up, we're really actually switching gears. I have a question and then I have a couple comments. I know that we're in hurricane season, and I know that we're not usually impacted by a lot of tropical activity here in the district, although we did have a system come through over the week. that it was pretty mild. I just want to hear from the company on, what their preparations were and what, if any, type of incidents they saw as a result.
Absolutely. I'm happy to address that. So again, Colleen's getting lots of airtime here. We spent a significant amount of prep in advance. So I think it's probably fair again to let her talk through some of the details and give the synopsis of that. So Colleen, back to you.
Thank you. So with the onset and the news about the storm and where it was going to specifically land and the impacts on the communities we served, the operations team on Friday evening put the emergency command center together from the customer experience standpoint, from the operation, both our distribution, our transmission teams, all of our emergency operating plans were put in place. We, of course, we have a large contractor contingency that provides services to WGL. We buttoned up all of those contractor activities and had them put their equipment in a safe space, so to speak, early on Monday morning. We have not experienced any impacts from the storm directly. Things worked very well. We had our staff at our gate stations and our various locations manning 24/7 throughout the evening. And suffice to say, for this hurricane or tropical storm, WGL fared very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Colleen, thank you. I would simply add, we coordinated, as you would expect, Mr. Chairman, with the Homeland Safety and Emergency Management group. Lots of calls, lots of preparations. The feedback from the city was very positive on that overall coordinated effort. And to Colleen's point, very, very minimal impacts, nothing significant that would be noteworthy of conversation.
That's outstanding. So I view this as a dry run for what, if any serious storm or impact would have come to the area. So
certainly.
Thank you for that. I really just want to comment on a couple things. Number one, I want to just say that since I became chairman, our focus at the commission has been on three things. That is grid modernization, infrastructure investment, and stakeholder engagement. I applaud the company for really touching on all three of those items in your presentation and to continue on in the district. I will also add, in the wake of the recent protests that we've seen around the city and around the nation in the wake of the killing of George Floyd, we have been focused on what we always were focused on, which is diversity and inclusion. Even before we've seen the recent activity, as you noted, the commission, we started and instituted a Supplier and Workforce Diversity Advisory Council, which Washington Gas is a member of, an active member of. That is something that is a priority for us because we know that the best way, the most lasting way for us to impact social change in our industry is at the board level, at the C-suite level. And so we will continue to pay attention to that and continue to make that a priority. With that is all that I have for you today. I want to thank you again for coming. I apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning, but we're feeling our way through this process like everybody else. So,
absolutely. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you so much. So with that, let me close us out. We have the next regular open meeting will be held on August 12th, 2020 at 2 p.m. via conference call. The proposed agenda for the meeting will be posted at least 48 hours before the announced meeting. There being nothing further, the commission now stands adjourned. Thank you, everyone.